Real
Is
briefly, though,
like
now
something
that we've
special.
had, what is it, a week and a half or something like that worth of games, how do you feel about the production, the presentation, the screens, the sound, and everything?
Gosh, going back to how I thought on day one, I was impressed, and I feel like I'm just even more impressed as we move on. Using teams' goal songs, making sure even if the player has a song that's their song and it's getting played after their goal song, things are lining up. Like, I want to know what the communication is like to whomever is up in the game entertainment director hot seat right now, how many different teams they're coordinating with to make sure they're making it feel like it's their games. And it's really impressive because each arena would have their own person that does that. So that job impresses me in itself. And then just from all the staff and operations and giving that look and feel of kind of I think producer Chris said this. I'd like a WWE kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, Chris, and you're listening right now. Like, that wasn't me, but it has like this feel of like you're trying to make something bigger than what's happening in front of you, like they do for WWE. There's a small ring in the center, but that they do all these extra great lighting and effects and the boards and the screens, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm gathering. So they've made it feel bigger and better. So we're not really focusing on what's not there, and we're just focusing on the hockey. And then we're like, oh yeah, this is also kind of nice, and I'm not bothered by anything that's not happening that should be. So it's kind of how I feel on it, Jesse.
I gotta say, I am so impressed at how
Yeah.
well the NHL handles spectacle. Right, there's some things I don't necessarily think they handle that great. Everybody has complaints about the reffing and the schedules and blah 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 blah. But whether it's an All-Star game, the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series, the NHL's 100 Gala a couple seasons ago, now the two bubble events, like whoever they hired, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I apologize, but they hired somebody away from the NFL years ago when they started the Winter Classic Series. And ever since that decision, I felt like they've hit it out of the park every time they've had to. And these bubble games are just, they're great. I mean,
they're an extension of some of the big events that we would.
Yeah, and I just never thought they'd pull it off as well as they have. Just again from a production standpoint. Now on the ice, fortunately, they've had a ton of help. Connor McDavid, as much as it pains me to say it, is phenomenal, right?
He's
and so he has
Sebastian Aho.
Yeah, exactly.
He
scores this goal, which part of what annoys me about Connor McDavid is that he's so good that doesn't even look that impressive to me.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I know how impressive it is. Right. Never mind the speed, but the backhand shot. But it just looks so casual.
Yeah.
It's really so good.
I love when a player reaches that status where even the most, impressive thing about them looks so mundane that you're just like, what? Wait, is my brain playing tricks on me? I look at one of our guys, like Jeff Carter. If you actually look at the speed that man is skating, yet how he just makes it look like I'm just a guy doing my thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the same kind of thing where you're just like, wait, actually stop and pay attention for 1 second. What he's doing is out of this world bonkers, yet he makes it look so easy. Much like Jeff Carter, where you're like, what he's skating like is like actually out of this world bonkers in terms of speed and length and whatever the heck, and it's just like, he makes it look like, it's just how I'm living.
Obviously, Connor McDavid has better finishing hands than Wagner, but I would really like to see a foot race between Austin Wagner and Connor McDavid. I know we're not going to get it, but
yes,
that's what I
honestly, I want Wags to at least be able to clock his like around the rink speed just to know and see. I've asked him off the record before, just like, do you know? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I would just, I want to know because I feel like he could go toe to toe with Connor McDavid in terms of speed.
You mentioned Sebastian Aho, and we talked about him obviously with Abby, but he had an unbelievable goal himself against the hated New York Rangers. Here it is, right? I mean, like just some of the moves guys can make these days. Let's
see it again.
Yeah, and again and again and again. I mean, I'm still always going to favor goaltending and defense, and I'm still going to insist that flashy wingers who can do things like this are not enough to win you a cup by themselves. But if you can get a guy like that, so much better to have him than not to have him. I mean, just makes three guys look stupid on this play.
Yeah, he dinked him silly. Look at him. And off the backhand and gets down on both knees while he's, going down. Like, what? and then still, yeah. I'm just watching it like, yep.
I don't know if it's core strength, upper body strength, or some combination of both to be able to maintain composure of your upper body and control the puck and get that shot off, as you said, while dropping to two knees. Not to mention the mental focus it would require.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of like lower half of the body too, because his legs aren't really leaving the ground there, and his torso is responsible for almost deking out the defenseman as much as his stick and puck are. So it's a lot of you can see his feet barely even leave the ground as he's maneuvering around there. So a lot of lower body strength, and then the hands are just the finishing touch right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's all. I said too much earlier. I'm going to amend that to it's almost too much hockey. But gosh, did I miss hockey. And now today we've got a rumor that the 7 teams who are not participating in the qualifying rounds have submitted a request to the league to have early training camps to compensate for the fact that they didn't participate in the qualifying round. So it's entirely possible that we'll get Kings hockey a little bit earlier than originally scheduled. So we cross our fingers and hope for that. There is some minor Kings news, pun intended. The Ontario Reign announced the re-signing of Jacob Doty and Blaine Byron today, and those are players signed to AHL contracts. I'm not sure if we have those images ready to go or not. I may have put things out of order. Apologies, producer Chris. But Carrlyn, the Reign bring players in, so that's huge news.